everything is up but the wages. When it comes to inflation, we're looking at rent skyrocketing, the cost of food, everything else, and it is not a good look. It's evident also that these price increases, they have not peaked. And that's per a New York Times report that came out this morning, really showing us the prices will continue to rise. First, let's go ahead and tackle rent, and this is from NPR. So a new report from Redfin shows that nationally listed rents for available apartments rose 15% from a year ago. And the median listed rent for an available apartment rose above $2,000 a month for the first time. Now rents are up more than 30% in Austin, Seattle, and Cincinnati. In Los Angeles, the median asking rent $3,400. And even in formerly affordable cities such as Nashville, it's now $2,100, up 32% from last year. Now the increased demand for rentals from people who would rather buy a home is likely to continue. Mortgage applications to purchase a house are 21% lower than a year ago as rising interest rates continue to price more would-be home buyers out of the market. That's right, cost of living, it is going up, as well as inflation hitting that new high, as I mentioned. So check out this tweet from the GOP's director of policy research. That's Jackie K, last name I can't pronounce. She tweeted out about inflation just hit a new 40-year high. That's right. Overall CPI, I don't know what that is, I don't care. I just know that it's up. Gas, 48%. Fuel oil, not something I buy, but if I wanted to buy it, I probably wouldn't because it's up 106%. Meat, poultry, fish, I'm about to go vegan because this don't look good, 13%. Milk, 15, eggs, 32. What? Coffee, I don't drink it, but John's pissed, up 15%. Used cars, I also don't do those, but 16%. Airline, that's right, just bought a flight, 37%. The real average hourly earnings down 3%. That's a hell of a thing because it's boxing a lot of us out. New York Times, they put out this. They said prices climbed 8.6% in the year through May. Production and shipping snarls tied to the pandemic have shown early signs of easing but remain pronounced, keeping products like cars and trucks in short supply. The war in Ukraine is elevating food and fuel prices, and its trajectory is unpredictable. And consumer demand remains strong, buoyed by savings amassed during the pandemic and wages that are rising quickly, albeit not enough to fully offset inflation. Damn. Okay, first of all, yeah, New York Times definitely at that high school, college reading level, because those were a lot of big words. But at the end of the day, I can translate this for you. It's expensive now. Everything costs a whole lot. Eggs, 34 for eggs. Brett, I can't do this. I don't. Why? What, Brett? What?
There's a scene in Home Alone where he goes, I bought the milk, the eggs, and the fabric softener. If they reboot that movie, no, you didn't. You didn't have enough money to buy the milk, the eggs, and the fabric softener. I don't care how much buzz saved that you rated from his war chest. That's some pretty extensive knowledge of Home Alone for those of you who haven't watched it recently. Yeah, it's nuts. And there's a lot at stake here, and there's a lot of things that we can dig into, right? Politically, you can spin this many ways. The right's gonna spin it as Joe Biden did that. He did it himself. No one else did anything but to do this but Joe Biden. They're gonna look at the amount of money that you were given potentially if you qualified to make it through the pandemic and say that because you got $1,200 once, you yourself. So they're gonna tell you that someone else is responsible for it, but they're also saying you're responsible for it because instead of dying during the pandemic, you actually got $1,200, which we know even then wasn't enough to cover rent, even though you couldn't go out. No one's gonna advocate for fixing the underlying risks affiliated with coronavirus. They'll either convince you that they're not out there anymore or continue to pretend that they never were out there in the case of the right. And then a lot of folks will try to get you to ignore the fact that in many cases, in many specific industries, you can point to the fact that like there is no reason for the prices to go up other than corporations are looking at each other and saying, let's do that, cool? Like the oil companies, the giant consortium that oversees the vast majority of oil prices is OPEC. Do you know what the C stands for? Cartel. It's a cartel. So you have, in a world that TYT's been telling you for years and years, rightly, is run by like an oligarchy of corporations that work in lockstep to dictate prices, irrespective of total demand, are now continuing to do so, as without considering what the other fundamental aspects of the economy would otherwise lead you to assume would happen if you took Econ 1 or post-college doctoral degrees, which you'll need in order to understand the last paragraph that Adrienne read you from the New York Times.
Yeah, and the thing that really gets me, as well as that tweet from the GOP's director of policy research, like the GOP could increase wages. The GOP could do something to help stop this, but it's doing nothing. All it's doing is out here yelling out its little moniker, "Let's go Brandon," where the reality is Brandon can't go nowhere because fuel's up, airlines cost too damn much. So come on, like at least do something that will keep our society somewhat stable, because this is hurting everybody.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.